Hey guys, it's Mari. You're watching the Bad Buddy Knits podcast. Um, Guys, it's been an age since I podcasted. Um, Here's why you don't do that, because it has been so long that it's very hard to remember what I talked to you about last. So here's what I'm going to do. There may be I may split this up into a couple of short episodes. So that way I can get some new stuff out there, but also collect my thoughts, hopefully without it being all jumbled. I actually knit this. I actually filmed this. Hey baby. Left my door open so I don't overheat, and my dogs have come to visit. Sorry if you just heard me patting my dog. I'm a little rusty, can you tell? So here's my plan. I'm going to show you 5 FOs today. Finished objects, and do a little shameless self-promotion, and then I'm going to call it good. I've got a bunch of works in progress going on, but I think if I do that, the last time I tried to film this, it was like an hour and a half long, and I don't want to be here all day, and I really do want to get this up, so we're going to give this a good college try. Okay. So I have 5 sweaters to show off today, which is freaking nuts, you guys. Like, I've never knit this much in my life, and I'm not really sure how it all happened, but I think it will become clear as I explain. So the first 2 are the same sweater. It was so great I knit it twice. So one of which I'm wearing. This is the Rift Tee by Jacqueline C. Slack. This is actually the second one I've knit. I'll put up photos of both me wearing this one and my first one. The first one I no longer have because it was actually knit as a shop sample for Downtown Knits in Apex. Jacqueline C. Slack released the Rift Tee at the beginning of July, I believe. So back in like late May, she put out a call for test knitters, and Michelle, who owns Downtown Knits, actually sent it to me and said, hey, if you want to sign up for this, I will provide yarn support for you. And I was like, great, that's fantastic. Yes, let's do that. So I knit the size 64. The first one I knit was in Riley yarn by Skasel. I think it's a alpaca silk linen mix. So it was beautiful to work with, very natural. The color was sort of, I'll put a picture up so you guys can see what the color was. It was kind of out of my comfort zone, just because normally I pick colors. Normally I go for really soft yarn, and that yarn is soft, but it has a bit of a natural feel, I think, from the linen. And I'm assuming as that gets blocked occasionally, it's going to soften up even more. So I test knit using that yarn in the 64. It grew a ton. So that yarn, and I'm not really surprised, because between linen, alpaca, I guess that doesn't necessarily do anything, I figured it was going to grow, and it did pretty much every which way. So I think I ended up with somewhere between a 66 and a 68 inch finished garment. It was also a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I think it came out well, and I'll explain why in a second. It's a beautiful sweater. So that was my test knit experience, and I was very happy to do that for Jacqueline. She's a great designer. If you haven't checked out her designs yet, please do. She's been making really great strides in terms of doing size inclusive designing. She also accounts for lots of things, including bust darts, 3 different kinds of bust darts, or 3 different sizes of bust darts. So if you need that in order for your shirt to fall even, that's really helpful. She also designed this one with a custom fit bicep, so you can basically, depending on as you can kind of see, I'm sorry I'm not very good at showing all this stuff off. Hopefully you'll have photos up by now. So this is basically knit bottom up. It can have an uneven hem. The one I'm wearing does not. The first one I knit, I believe, does. You can also customize, but you can either do a V-neck like this, a crew neck. You can do both crew necks, or you can do the V in the back. So lots and lots and lots of customization options. It's a really fantastic first pattern. And like I said, so you can do a custom bicep. So if you are, either an inch under or over the size in the schematic, then she recommends that you to use her adjustment, which I think I did, because I think my row gauge was off a little, because it always is. I think it took me maybe about a month to knit. No sleeves really, because it's basically just you do some ribbing once you get done, like I was saying. So you knit it from the bottom up, you start the hem separately, and then you join in the round. It does have a little I don't know if you can see it, sort of a ribbing detail on the side. So I think she just adds these really nice touches that make a simple silhouette just a little bit, more special. This one, you can't tell with me sitting down. So this one's a little bit shorter than the other one. I think my other one comes down to about here. So this one is great, and I love it. I love the color. This is knit in Holst Garn's Coast, which is a wool cotton blend. I think this is the Cassius colorway. This is a really, really great option if you are looking for a budget yarn. The yarn comes in these little cakes, or you can buy it in a cone if you're knitting like a sweater where you need a larger quantity. And I knit this with the yarn held double. So this took me 4 cakes, I think they're 50-gram cakes. Both of my sweaters came out at just about 720 yards for the 64-inch. This one is more true to size with 64-inch. It didn't really grow a lot, either length or width-wise. I kind of wish it had grown a little lengthwise, because I probably could have used another inch or two. But when I wear this with like flowy things, I think it looks really good. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background. She's annoyed that I'm not paying attention to her, and my husband's gone. So anyways, so let's see, what else do I have to say about the Rift? It was a really great experience. The funny thing about this one was, I knew I was going to knit a second one. I had ordered this, and I did start it, but basically knit 90% of this in less than a week. So this is a super fast knit, and I think it's a great one if you haven't knit a sweater before. It's not necessarily the most basic sweater. I mean, it's very basic construction. It's a little bit different. It's, very boxy shape. So, it's basically just you're knitting a tube, and then you separate for the sleeves and just kind of keep knitting up straight, and then you do both sides. It does have a 3-needle bind off along the shoulders here, and then you do a little bit of ribbing around the arms. And so those are my first 2 finished objects. That took me basically so I knit the first one starting in late May, was done by beginning of July. When I got done with that, my next finished object, or what I should say is that I had another test knit on the horizon, but I hadn't gotten it yet. And so I was thinking, what do I want to do to fill the time between now and then? So I ended up focusing on a sweater that has been kind of languishing. I'm super glad, because this will be really nice to have for the fall. This is actually a test knit that I started last fall. And that is my B Street pullover. So this is a beautiful fingering weight lace sweater. It's knit raglan style, and I'll put a photo of me wearing all of these, because I'm not going to change in and out of them. I've talked about this one a little bit before, but the yarn is by Periwinkle Sheep. It's her Delirium base in the color Antidote. I got this when I went to Maryland Sheep Wool last year. She's a great dyer. She's been doing a lot of really fantastic things for racial equality in the knitting community lately. So I really admire her, and it was very nice to be able to work with her yarn and on something that I love so much. So this is a really great pattern for the South. If you live any place where the winters are not super cold, because it's very lightweight. The lace makes it obviously very breathable. The pattern is by Catherine Folkerth. Again, B Street pullover. She had me test knit it, and so again, this is one of those ones that I think I knit the 55-inch maybe. Again, anything that I'm saying, I've been been trying to be very good about making sure my project pages on Ravelry are all updated. So if there's anything that you want to see here, know about yarn, needle sizes, whatever, go check me out there. My name on Ravelry is Bittersweet Betty. Yeah, this is one that I've been really excited to have, and I've actually been taking it with me places when I knew that it was going to be like chilly at night. It's just a really good, easy to wear. It's a beautiful color. I'm really pleased to have this because when I started this last fall, I think I had like 2 months in it, which was a totally reasonable time. But I think I started it like this time last year and it's supposed to be done by Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving came and went and I was nowhere near done. And so I think the funniest thing about it was that like I'm a process knitter. So like I enjoy the act of knitting. But what I realized last fall was that when you're knitting sweaters and you really want them right that second, it super sucks to be knitting them because you just can tell how long it's going to take you. And so I'm really excited that this is done in advance of this fall so that I can wear it. And I've already really just enjoyed getting a chance to wear it. And hopefully you've had a chance to see now. I put up some photos. My husband was super kind and took finished object photos of both this and the B Street pullover when we were in the mountains with our family at the beginning of August. So it's always nice to have that little, extra oomph for your finished object photos, not just me in the backyard. It's me in the mountains and all that fun stuff. So, okay, so now that's 3. Nope, there we go. 3 sweaters that have been finished. So you can kind of tell how this has happened. These ones have no sleeves, knit up at a very loose gauge. That one was like 80% done, just needed some sleeves. So my next finished object is the Golden Horizon pullover, which is designed by Tina Say. This is another test knit that I signed up for this summer. Tina has also been doing really great things in terms of size inclusivity, in addition to all her awesome work with racial equality in the knitting community. So I really appreciate that she reached out, and has been working on expanding her sizing and everything. So I had a really awesome experience test knitting with her. And this is my 3rd test knit. So it's been really interesting to kind of, if you have never test knit before, usually it's a group of people and obviously different sizes that are test knitting the pattern to kind of help find out if there's anything that needs to be changed in addition to whatever the tech editor might say. And so when I test knit for Jacqueline, we actually use Instagram to communicate as a group. Previous ones I've done have used email. This one we use Slack. I don't use Slack on a regular basis, but all of them were really interesting to see how it gave us a chance to talk to one another and post photos and share progress. So definitely, designers out there, it's an awesome way to build community is what I'll say, because there's a lot of people now that like you get a chance to talk to each other about, what you're doing and what modifications you're making and how it's going, things like that. And it also just gives you, sort of a little group to be a part of for a while, which I really appreciate. So the Golden Horizon was released, I think, at the end of August. And hopefully by the time I get this up, it won't be the end of September, but we'll see. So this is and again, I'll put photos up so you can see the whole thing. This is my Golden Horizon sweater. This was knit with, the orange is Nerdy Bird orange like Effie's hair, and this is a DK weight sweater. The gauge is something like 20 stitches per 4 inches. So pretty easy gauge to knit up real quickly. The blue teal is, I believe, Reservoir Hill by Neighborhood Fibers. That I got at Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. The orange came from my fiber share partner earlier this year. So I was super excited. And she was very kind to send me a couple extra skeins when she saw that I was test knitting with her yarn, just because I think, again, one of those things, people don't realize how much yarn it takes to knit when you're knitting a size 56. A lot of people in the medium, large, extra large range, you can maybe get by with 3 or 4 skeins, so it's different. I used just over 6 skeins for this. If I hadn't done a swatch in the round and cut it, I probably could have used that yarn to finish. As it was, I think I used maybe 2 or 3 yards from the 7th ball. And definitely less than I'd say probably less than less than a quarter for sure of the contrast yarn, this is a single fingering weight yarn. And this is basically just a simple slip stitch pattern. You can kind of see, and you can also tell it's sort of increasing. You do more rounds as you go down the body. My major modifications were that I added one whole extra section at the bottom for length. And I think once this blocked out, I got even more, but I was a little worried that it was not going to be long enough. And a lot of people actually did that, I think. So sorry if my light just changed. I think it just died. The other major one for me was that I actually added several sections to the arms, because I knit one and it only came to about here and it was intended to be down here. So and again, check my project page. I think I did 3 extra sections, like sort of at the beginning, because how you start here is, it's increasing here to where the sleeve separation is, and then when you get to that, then you kind of start decreasing again. So the sections that I did, I actually detailed on my project page. Feel free to give those a look. That helps a little bit. Okay. So much editing to be done. So this was fantastic to knit. Tina was a pleasure to knit for, and I'm really glad I had the chance. This is a really nice kind of open neck. The other thing I did was that I did go back and do a single crochet round around the neck, because a lot of people had it that it was kind of coming out, like stretching more with the weight of the sweater, and so I wanted to make sure mine didn't do that too much. So those were the main things that I did. And I was very pleased to be able to post it at the same time that everyone else was when she released the pattern, which I hope is helpful for people. The feedback I got was that, a lot of people see thinner models helping to promote test knits, and they think, well, that's great. I really like that pattern, but I'm not sure, how it looks on a body like mine. And so I knew that was important, that we had to have, representation, in every way. That always matters, to have representation. And I got a lot of good feedback that people were happy to see that. And I hope that helped Tina, with her sales, of finding and helping other knitters kind of find, a great first sweater if they were doing that. Sorry. So that is my Golden Horizon test knit, and that one was also done on time. Hooray! So my 2 rifts and my Golden Horizon were actually done on time. And the funny thing was that in the course of knitting this, I knit this and I knit another sweater mostly. So it's just funny because it was one of those things where, like, if I messed up or something and needed a bit of a timeout, then I would kind of switch over. And, this one ended up being so fast when I really focused on it. It's just so funny to think that I knit a whole DK sweater in 2 months. And in that time, I also knit this sweater and another one that I'm about to show you. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed seeing these so far. I know the last time I came on here was right after Maryland Sheep and Wool. All of these things y'all are like, this is out of the blue. So it's fun to be able to show off these finished things and talk a little bit about maybe what I have planned for the future. Okay, so this is my final finished object for today. One of the reasons I'm excited that in a way that I had to re-record this is that when I recorded it last time, both my Golden Horizon and this were not quite finished yet. So they were works in progress, but I'm excited to show them off in their final form. So if you'll give me a second. This is my Diaphanous Raglan. I don't have finished object photos of it yet. So if I remember, I will try and take a better photo of it. But this is a design by Jessie May. Hopefully if you're not dead on Instagram, you've seen this. This is a beautiful sweater. So this is knit with mohair just mohair for the sleeves, and then mohair held with the fingering weight yarn for the front and the back. And it has a double V. I think I knit size 58, but my gauge has ended up being tighter, I believe. Again, project page on Ravelry, check it out. This one's a bit of a departure for me. I love the color. This is actually something that my local yarn store put on their Instagram the day that it came in, and I was like, just put it aside. I'm coming for it tonight. So the yarn is by Chasing Rabbits Fiber Co., I believe. The colorway is Westwood, I think. And their mohair base is called Fern, and their fingering base, Gossamer is the mohair. Fern is the fingering weight base. And both are in, maybe it's Wildwood. That sounds slightly more likely. So, Jessie does a really awesome job. Again, great size inclusive designer. She does a lot to make her patterns customizable. This pattern comes with at least 4 different sleeve options. So I did mine with the bishop sleeves, which means that they are very floaty. I feel a little bit like one of those ladies that should have a lot of fruit on her head right now. So this is totally not my style. Like, I'm like kind of a blend into the woodwork kind of girl. I do like a lot of color, and I think the color is gorgeous. I'm super excited to wear this with stuff. But I tend to like real classic silhouettes, more fitted things. And this one is fitted except for the arms. So the bishop sleeves on this, obviously, if you are a fat lady with fat arms, this is fantastic because you get, plenty of room up here. And then it's just this really floaty and fluffy and fun. And it's super cuddly. So you might just find yourself sitting around kind of petting yourself all day. Just keep it to the arms, right? Because otherwise it starts to get awkward. So I was really, really excited to knit this one because I watched Jessie's Test Knitters posting previews of it. And I was like, I can't wait to knit that. I've actually got plans to make a couple more at some point. I don't know when that will be yet. But I'm really glad that this is the one I did. One thing that I ended up doing, I don't know if it's as obvious as I hoped, but it kind of has a bit of a fade pattern. You can definitely see it more in the sleeves. So it starts out, and the big reason for this is because the mohair was fairly varied. So what I tried to do is blend it as I went. So the upper part here definitely had sort of more bright gold. And then once you got into this section, it kind of had a little bit more brown and green mixed in. And then my final skein that I picked out was actually a little bit on the darker side. So it had a lot more brown gold in it. And so I tried to kind of, I don't know if you can see it super well. Maybe that light helps. I tried to sort of blend it in, but there is a fairly significant demarcation. But luckily the thing that's nice is like you can kind of, this almost looks like it's striped, and then this looks like it's striped sort of inverse. And then when you get down to the cuffs, you knit those with the mohair and fingering how double again. So this is a cropped sweater. That's kind of the whole silhouette of it. I did waist shaping, which was another option. I think this is intended to actually be worn with some ease. I think my gauge ended up being a little off, and so it came down. It's pretty fitted for me, but I actually really like how it looks, and it will end up getting worn probably with skirts and things. So yeah, this is what I'm really excited to have as we go into the fall as well, because, it's very warm, but it's also not, I would say it breathes probably well. Now we'll see if I get out on a cold day with some wind blowing through it. We'll see if it actually feels quite as warm, but it's just a different thing for me. I love the color. It's just a kind of a step outside my comfort zone. And so I'm really excited. I got a lot of really great feedback on the color and stuff. I actually haven't done finished object photos yet, so I'm looking forward to doing those sometime this week and getting those on Instagram as well. So you guys actually got to see it first before, assuming I get this video up, before I get finished object photos on Instagram. So that's it. That is how I managed to knit 5 sweaters between mid-May and now, beginning of September. It's kind of nuts. Like, I'm always leery to test knit for people because I'm like, it's going to take me months and months and months to like get something done. And it does if it's a complicated pattern, but certainly these are all fairly simple ones, a lot of stockinette and in the round. So that definitely made it easier to manage some of these. The reason I'm bringing that up is mainly because if you're like me, if you're, above a size 2X, it can feel so daunting to take on a sweater project. And I have knit a crap load of crop sweaters this year. So that is another key to success because obviously you don't have to knit an extra 10 inches of body. just don't be afraid of, making your first sweater or, taking on multiple sweaters. If that is something you want to do it. I think there's a lot of really great, I know sometimes budget's an issue when you are a larger lady. And so I would definitely say, check out Jessie May. She's got a great spreadsheet that actually details a lot of different budget yarns. Holst Garn has super affordable options if you like woolier wool. I'm actually knitting that nurtured sweater by Andrea Mowry, and that's being knit in Garn Super Soft, which is a little bit of a misnomer, but I'm also like kind of a princess about woolly wools. But like I said, it comes on cones, and I think I got 2 cones for like under $50 maybe. With international shipping. I bought the coast that I bought 2 colors, and I think that came out to about $12 a sweater. So just realize there's options. Feel free to get in touch with me if you guys have any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions about any of my finished objects that aren't, either answered on Instagram or on my Ravelry pages. If you are going to be a first-time sweater knitter and just need a pep talk, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm always happy to let you know, hey, this is totally doable, and help any way I can. So that's kind of what I wanted to hit tonight, and so that I can actually get this on the internet. It's a little bit on the shorter side. In terms of just what's going on with me, other than the knitting, I did mention a little bit of shameless self-promotion. And so someone mentioned that, people that start podcasts and then end up starting businesses where they sell stuff can get a little weird. And I agree with that. It's not my intention for this to be a show about buying stuff off badbettyknits.com. But at the same time, if you are like the podcast, like me, want to support me, whatever, that's a really great way to do it. And so I'm really excited to share just a couple things that I have ordered as we get into the fall. I'm hoping to have some more new things on the shop soon, but these are just a few. I just wanted to share a couple quick things that are going to be up in the shop here shortly. So the main thing is some new stickers that I got ordered. As you can kind of see, it is getting to be that time of year. Sweater weather. So I got some stickers made that just say that, which, I think I got them in about 4 colors. So just some fun things if you like stickers. One thing I'm curious about, and if anyone wants to comment, please feel free. So I know that enamel pins are like a super big deal right now, but I'm also kind of wondering if that moment has passed, because everyone has a lot of them now and they wait on your bags, and then you're always worried about losing them. I like stickers a lot just because I like to put them on all my crap. And so I'm curious, is that something that people like? I know it's a little bit more affordable. I can get away with charging just a couple bucks for mine as opposed to, a $10 to $15 enamel pin. So I'm just curious if you want to share any feedback, feel free on Instagram, Bad Betty Knits, or here in the comments, feel free. I'm going to have those up on my website, badbettyknits.com, here shortly. And just one other thing I wanted to show off. I actually got some business cards made finally. Like when you start a business and you're telling people about it and they're like, oh, do you have a business card? And you're like, no, I don't have a business card. Which probably makes the most sense because for the most part, a lot of my interactions are online. But now that I'm wanting to go and talk with yarn store owners and things like that, I've come to realize it probably would make sense to have a business card that you can leave with them with all your information. So I also kind of redesigned my logo a little bit. So I'm just going to share this with y'all. Oops. Probably would help if I did it right side up, huh? So that's the front. And I'm thinking if I ever do pins, I can use these as pin cards as well. And that has just all my information and a thank you for supporting my business on the front, or on the back, excuse me. So if you guys order from me, you'll get one of those, hopefully along with a sticker in your package. So that's all I have for shameless self-promotion. We're done. As for what's going on with us, we've just got back actually last night from a trip out west to Colorado. My husband and I went to Denver for last week, first for work, and then we went to Rocky Mountain National Park for a couple days over the weekend. That was fantastic. I've never been to Colorado before, I don't think. If I have, I was not as a cognizant person. So we went and kind of did like Trail Ridge Road. I put some photos up on my Instagram, and hopefully I may put some up here just to kind of share. My husband takes a lot of great photos when we're there. I'm usually the one driving. And so I'm happy that he gets to take all the photos he wants, and I get to be in control of the driving. But it usually means that I don't have any to share, so I just try to share his. So yeah, we had a great time. I really enjoyed being out, and it was nice to be kind of up in the mountains. Where it was a little bit cooler. Denver was not very cool, unfortunately, where we started out. We did have to deal with some altitude sickness, which sucked. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as we were sort of worried it was going to be. We mostly just had headaches for a day or two, and then, about the time we left, we were used to it. The other cool thing that we did was we went and had dinner at the Stanley Hotel, which, if you're a Stephen King fan, that's actually the hotel that inspired The Shining. So that was really neat. We actually went and did a tour of it. Not like a spooky ghost tour, just like a regular tour, because I'm kind of a wuss and can't deal with that stuff. But then we went and had dinner and at the bar, got to hang out at the bar for a little bit and have like a dinner there afterwards. So we really enjoyed that. Totally recommend if you're in Estes Park, go check that out. So if you've made it this far, congratulations. This is hopefully going to be a short episode, but I've been interrupted by one dog barking repeatedly and my husband calling twice. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's stuck around to watch. I know I have a couple new viewers as my Instagram following has grown a little bit. I'd love to do sort of like an Ask Me Anything or sort of an intro, because I don't think I've ever really done that. Maybe the next one. I'm going to hopefully have another one up pretty quickly, because I'd like to get back in the swing of these. And if I don't do them every couple of weeks, suddenly it's like 5 months, and then you'll never see me again. So thank y'all for watching, and I look forward to talking with you soon. All right, bye.